Hello, kindred spirits, and welcome back to Bits and Bob's Divination. My name is Caitlin, and together we are going to be diving in to your next 2 weeks to look into the main energies on their way in, as well as going week by week with the charms for an energy forecast. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Alright, so welcome back, my beautiful kindred spirits, and anyone new who may be joining us here today on the channel. If you are new, I do pick a card readings as well as dive deep into art magic, and I even have an entire master guide video on charm casting if that's something you're interested in as we move through the piles. So do feel free to subscribe if you're new, but today we are going to be looking into the charms to look into that week by week energy forecast, as I mentioned, and to look into the nuances of things that happen over the next 2 weeks. Each pile is relatively quite different today, so definitely take your time. They each have a sort of underlining tone, but they're all very different in how they sort of manifest themselves. So feel free to really take your time with the piles. And if you would like to support yourself as well as support the channel to continue running here, definitely feel free to check out the Kindred tip jar. Everything that goes in there goes right back into the channel. And I also do snail mail readings where I send a letter to you in the mail on any question or query on your mind. Lots of reviews down below. And if you're interested in more of the art magic-y things, I do have some Yule spell and ritual papers that you can use in your own art magic and rituals to really enhance your magic in a more eco-friendly way. So definitely feel free to check those all out down below if you want to support yourself in the channel. But we're going to go ahead and look at the piles. So for each pile, we have a very classic setup of a crystal on each here today. So for pile number 1, if you're feeling any of these 3 piles, you might be feeling for pile number 1, this particular clear quartz with these rutilated pieces within it. So a rutilated quartz. So that is pile number 1. Here for pile number 2, we have this piece of amethyst with these really pretty rainbows. I don't know if they're showing up, but there's these really beautiful rainbows in them. So here is amethyst for pile number 2. And if you're feeling pile number 3, you might be feeling connected to this piece of yellow aventurine or aventurine. I never know how exactly to say it, but there you are with this yellow stone for group 3. So before you start heading off to the timestamps, heading off to your piles, I like to invite you to take a deep and cleansing breath here with me so you can connect with your own instincts, your own intuition, and see which pile or piles are connecting with you. So let's go ahead and take that deep breath together here now. And as always, there is no right or wrong way to choose your piles. You can choose all 3 of the piles, flip-flop between them, take bits and pieces, leave what doesn't resonate and take what does, and really just play around with them. All of the timestamps will be down below in the description, as well as with the chapter marks of this video. And if you're interested in any of those offerings, or the Kindred tip jar, the community tab, anything like that, all of it will be down below or on my channel. So with that all said, let's go ahead and get into pile number 1. Hello group 1, if you've decided to choose this piece of rutilated quartz, then this is the pile for you, looking into the next 2 weeks for you using the charms, the letter tiles, the numbers, and the tarot tiles, as well as the tarot deck of choice being the Everyday Tarot, all of which I'll have listed down below in case you're curious to see what we get up to here today. As I mentioned in the intro, we're going to be looking into not only the biggest and highest energies coming in, but also the nitty-gritty as we do a 2-week ahead charm cast, really looking into week by week. But before we get into that, feel free to get yourself settled, get yourself cozy and comfy here, and we're going to start out by looking into your letters. So group 1, we're going to look into if you have any significant initials, dates, places, oracle words, and letters that just really speak to you. So as we move through this reading, as always, feel free to use your own intuition, connect the dots with different things, see what comes through for you. I think that's super important when we work together for this. So let's go ahead and mix these up. So feel free to send your energy in, and let's mix them up, group 1. So this specific tile got stuck between my fingers, so I felt like it was a really specific tile that needed to come out. So this is the letter Y, so if there's an initial or someone's name or something else that's been really significant that you think we should be looking into, definitely keep that in your mind. We have sort of New York City sort of coming in here, but we have New York, we have NYTTE coming out on its own, as well as GO. Ooh, that's funny. Maybe some of you guys are traveling this week. We've the. So yeah, we have NYGQOTHENT. And I was like called to the idea of like New York, go, or this feeling of like going traveling, or at least questioning the idea of traveling, because whenever I see the Q but without a U, makes me think that we're talking about something that we're questioning, something that you want to say yes to, maybe something that you're like, let's just do it. Like there's a spontaneous energy that we're really getting here for your first week, if not both weeks here. I also saw at the very beginning as well the words, or the word rather here, net feeling like there's obviously a but, right? We have like this very spontaneous, I want to do this thing, I just want to go and do it and get it done, or play around with it. And then we have this net kind of holding you back. So I'd be interested to see if you get like the 8 of Swords or anything like that, and how that connects with all of your cards here in a minute. But there could be something that, there's a, I want to do this thing, but, right, the but is definitely coming in here. So I want to see what that is. But I'm going to go ahead and leave those there, but we're going to look even deeper to see if you get any more significant dates or other things coming in with the numbers. So similar to the letters, these are going to look into any significant numbers, angel numbers, repeating numbers, numerology, however you wish to work with them. And we're going to see what comes in. So okay, so the colors also could mean something to you. So we have the color blue with 12, the color orange with 11, the color red with 8, and another blue with the color 3. So the 12th or the 13th might be really important or significant, as well as the 11th. So the lead up here that's happening, the 12th, the 11th, the 13th, the 18th, the teens of this month could be very important for you. Also the 21st. I'm pretty sure when this comes out, the 8th and the 3rd will already be passed, but there could have been significant things that were happening that relate to maybe the but or the ideas that you're having about where you want to maybe be going, or the spontaneous nature. They might still be connected in terms of those significant dates. Otherwise, we're not really getting a ton of repeating numbers or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and leave those. But as always, we're going to look even deeper. We're going to keep adding layers. So we're going to look into the only the only overarching message that I'm going to look into, and then we're going to get into the nitty gritty. So I'm just going to pull one card from this deck to see the overarching main theme that's coming through for you over the next 2 weeks, group 1. So definitely be sure with any of these to send your energy in with this one. Meditate on the cards, pause if you'd like to, but we're going to look into that significant energy coming through for you, that main theme for you, group 1, over the next 2 weeks. Group 1. The number 2 came in my mind. Interesting, though, that you had sort of an 8 of Swords feeling coming forward, but instead of the 8 of Swords, you got the 8 of Cups, which is the very opposite of the 8 of Swords, where the 8 of Swords tends to have a figure sort of tied up in knots, feeling very confined, netted down, right? The 8 of Cups is about leaving a situation, or taking a break from an emotional situation that no longer is serving you or is holding you back in some way. It's more of a realization card. It's taking a break. It's taking a retreat, right? So some of this could just literally be getting an emotional break from your job, going on a little vacation, taking a bit of time. Some of this could also be that you are seeking to connect with someone and looking for ways to connect with someone even further in a way that previously was not working, right? So something needs to switch up here, something needs to change, whether that's to travel, whether that's to retreat from something, whether that's to move on, take a break, take a pause, to reflect on the situation and figure out where to go next, right? So that's really what you're getting here with the Eight of Cups. This is giving a lot of that same travel, go, change, make a shift kind of energy here, right? The path that you were once on is no longer the path you wish to follow. So we're going to see how that comes in with the nitty gritty, but overarchingly, that is the energy you're working with over the next 2 weeks. So let's get into the next 2 weeks individually. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom you back out, but we're going to look into this charm mat to look into that nitty gritty, those more nitty gritty messages. That must be the word of the day for me, but regardless, here in the center, we're going to be looking into those main energies even further. So more on that Eight of Cups. Anything in this first noodle shape is on the first week, and this one the second week, and anything that falls on the moons we'll talk about individually. But we're going to start out first with the tarot tiles, and then we're going to move on to cast the more individual charms. So do feel free to send your energy in to the dark abyss and see what looks back. Okay, so what we have here for you, I'm going to say this one's in the center, really. It's kind of where it feels. It feels a little bit like whatever is happening here, this main energy is going to show up most in the second week, and I think that's why we didn't get a lot of individual charms here for that. But we do have facing up, which this one will wait on, but we have facing up the Knight of Pentacles, and we'll zoom in here in a moment, the Three of Cups, the Four of Cups, lots of cup energy, and here over on the moons we have a Five of Swords. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and look into the more, bits and bobs feelings towards the rest of your week and 2 weeks. So group 1, next 2 weeks. Oh my goodness, I don't think I've ever had this many zodiac charms fall out at once since I first bought them, because at that point they were individual. That's so interesting. So we're going to be looking into that quite deeply for this first week. So let's first start though in the center of it all. That is so crazy. But here in the center, right, we're going to look here first. You have the Knight of Pentacles. And like I said earlier, you had that Eight of Cups energy, all about needing to retreat from something, move away from something. Oh, sorry, you still can't see it. Move away from something, retreat from something. And what it might be that's emotionally really getting you kind of in a rut or making you feel a little bit like you're just doing things over and over again is this like practical nature, or this feeling of just doing the everyday mundane, whether that's through a career, through your job, just feeling like you're going through the phases, right? You're just like, I get up, I put on my clothes, I go to work, I come back home, I get up, it just feels very like over and over and over, and in a loop that's really emotionally burning you out, which isn't too surprising, right? This is quite a busy part of the year, so it's definitely seeing that you need a bit of a retreat from there, and I think you're going to make the decision to do so because we do have this Eight of Cups. What otherwise, if you got the Eight of Swords and it was showcasing you still stuck, then there might be a lot more of that feeling of being netted down. But you got the Eight of Cups, so it really is giving you the option that these next 2 weeks to make a change, that there might be an opening or an opportunity for you to do so, and if not, then there's going to be at least the strength and courage for you to do so if something is, where you have to be the catalyst of that change. So with that in mind, moving into the second week is quite interesting. So when we're looking at this, we have one that didn't fully reveal itself. So let's go ahead and reveal that one now. Okay, so we have the Three of Swords. The Three of Swords usually looks like, a lot of people see this as heartache, heartbreak, and it can be that, intense. But what I really like about this is instead of it being a cup card, where most cup cards are talking about our actual feelings, our actual emotions that are happening, this is what we're feeling in our head. This is us sometimes blowing it out of proportion. This is us overthinking or ruminating on something. So there's something that might show up in the first week that's going to get you quite emotionally charged. Everything is going to feel like, and it could be a high or a big low. It's either way, but you're definitely going to be feeling either a high or a low in the first week. And it's not necessarily that your situation is truly that low or truly that high, but rather just your perspective on it and the way that you are experiencing it within your mind. The situation that might be, causing this, could be completely unrelated to the other cards that we have here, but I'll go ahead and speak on them in case they are related. So other things you have in this first week, we had a ton of different zodiacs, and what's interesting is you actually got the Three of Cups, and the Three of Cups can be seen here with a bunch of celebration, lots of social gatherings, a connection of a diverse community, right? There's a real beauty to this card. This is a very celebratory, social, fun card to get, and one that speaks to friendship and community and real deep connections. And so some of those connections that might be showing up here, we have passionate people, very practical people, Virgos, Scorpios, Aries, Capricorn, people who are very ambitious, or are courageous, right? So those are some of the, in their sun, moon, or rising, or the type of person that might be showing up. We have quite a variety. We have quite a mix here, but that mix is definitely of fire signs and earth signs. So it's definitely a more stable, very, it really feels like these are the type of people to actually have around you when you want to make a shake up. Like I was talking about when it came to your main energy of shaking things up or being the catalyst of change. These are people to have in your corner around this time, especially earth signs and fire signs. They're the ones who are going to be able to help you see both the practical side, but also like fire signs are going to be like, ooh, this is how you can shift that. That's how we can create that first spark. Definitely someone who's a Scorpio also could really be helping you through this situation because of the Four of Cups that you have here as well, which can talk about someone presenting an opportunity to you. So the first week might be emotionally quite up and down, but you definitely have a really good support system, or it's just going to be a very social week. But that's really at the heart of it, what's going on in the first week. As for the second week, we have a few other charms here. We have mostly just charms, right? We didn't really get any tiles here, but we have an abundance of best friends showing up here, helping you maybe to lift a weight, because we do have the weight charm. We also have the abundance charm of the bunny, and then you have the best friend's heart here. So it really feels like there's a lot of people in your corner, a lot of people really supporting you, literally surrounding you over the next 2 weeks, that are going to continue presenting a lot of emotional support or emotional opportunities or emotionally charged opportunities to you, things that are very much, related to support, because we also have the heart key here. And it's an opportunity that can be easily missed as well, because we have the miss. If you've ever played like Battleship, this is the Battleship charm for miss. So it's something that you could easily miss. It's an opportunity that might present itself that you might, it's kind of that butterfly effect, taking the left or the right sort of path, right? Going down a different path. So there's an opportunity for that shift, for that catalyst of change to happen in the second week, where you might be talking it over with friends or, communicating it or sharing it. The second week is where real change can happen, and it's an opportunity that could easily pass you by if you don't look for it or make the changes for yourself. But yeah, you're getting like a green light here. Friends and support is really around you in these next 2 weeks. We also have in the second week more abundance showing up here of stagnation and thoughts of stagnating. So like I said, because there's an easy opportunity for you to miss this and not fully see it, it's even more imperative to maybe know this information going into the second week so that you're more prepared for that and you're more aware to look for that opportunity or to be the one who, is that catalyst for change. As for the final charm that you have here, you have the Five of Swords, and this usually talks about things that are kind of unrelated when they fall on the moons, but the moons can talk about timing. So if you get up like Google, you can look up this specific moon and what date it falls on when you're watching this. But between the last quarter moon and the full moon, much closer to the last quarter moon, you have that Five of Swords energy, which can be a bit of a competitive energy. It can showcase not always, working with our best colors, not really choosing our words well, right? It's very easy to sometimes, say the wrong thing or have some miscommunication happening around that time. So being very aware of your communication, how you are speaking to other people, taking a moment to choose your words more carefully and more thoughtfully around that time could be, a big game changer. So those are all of the charms and cards that you have here over the next 2 weeks. I'll go ahead and hold these up for you so you can look at them again if you'd like to. But I do want to say thank you for being here with me. Thank you for being here. If you've been here all year, do let me know in the comments down below. I'm always curious to see who's been here. And your thoughts and feelings on these readings, especially as we move towards the new year here soon. But if you did enjoy this reading, do be sure to give this video a like and let me know in the comments down below how it resonated for you. And as I said, if you've been here a while, you probably are already subscribed, but if you haven't already, do be sure to subscribe as I put out these readings every single Monday for love, career, for art magic, for charm casting. I have a whole master guide on charm casting if that's something you're interested in, and lots more. So definitely feel free to subscribe. And if you'd like to support yourself as well as support this community, do be sure to check out the offerings I have down below for snail mail readings, for pick a card readings that I do over on my community tab. And I also like to do up some handmade spell and ritual papers that you can use in your own art magic. So with that all said, thank you so much for being here, for looking into your next 2 weeks, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Hello group 2, if you decide to choose this little piece of amethyst, then this is the pile for you. As we look into the next 2 weeks for you, we're going to look into that main energy as well as a 2-week ahead forecast where we look each, week at one at a time. We're going to be doing that with the charms as well as tarot charms. We're also going to be using letter tiles, number tiles, and the tarot deck of choice here being the Everyday Tarot, which I'll have all of this listed in the description down below as always in case you're curious to see what we get up to today. But as always, feel free to get yourself settled, get your intuition flowing, and we're going to start seeing what's coming in for you over the next 2 weeks, starting out first with the letter tiles. So let me go ahead and get you all zoomed in here, and we'll look into these letters. So you might have significant letters that pop out to you for initials, names, dates, places, oracle messages, poems, who knows? So we're going to see what shows up for you. So do feel free to really connect with these, send in your energy through time and space, and let's pull some charms. Okay, so the first letters that you got here, we have a C, O, and U, as well as N, R, C, and A. Okay, so we have a nice little balance when it comes to the letters that you're getting here. I'm definitely getting like can showing up here. Can literally mean like I can do it, or, you can do it, right? You've got this. So a very encouraging week where you have someone maybe, cheering you on, a cheerleader in your life really helping you out throughout this week. Can also mean like a can of pop or a can of soda or something like that, right? It feels, if we get other charms that come across in that way, because I do have a few charms that have sort of this meaning or association to them. Sometimes it can mean like you're like opening a can, opening something, and then you get like that fizz or that like like there's a release. It kind of feels like there's something that you're releasing, letting go of, something you're getting off your chest, a weight being lifted over the next 2 weeks for you, which is very encouraging, very nice to hear. Sometimes it can feel like, a lot of pent-up energy or a lot of work, a lot of effort and work to get to that place, right? I'm not saying it's easy, right? We still have to open the can, but there's something showing up there in terms of that. Core like this isn't spelled exactly the right way, but I'm pretty sure that means heart in French, which is where we get the word courage, right? Putting, bravery and heart into something. So I'm also getting like, you're brave, you've got a lot of courage here. So it's very, very encouraging. We're just getting a lot of encouragement. So I'm going to mix these up and see if we get anything else. If I look at it another way, we have car here. So there could be something significant about your car. Sometimes this can be super practical and super like to the point. So sometimes the charms are just like, check your car, check engine light, make sure everything's looking good before you leave in the morning. I also see like corn here, right? I'm not getting a ton more, but feel free to look at these, mix them up for yourself and see what else you get here. I also have run, but you're welcome, like I said, to look even further and see what kind of comes up for you. So we're gonna keep going forward and we're gonna see what the numbers have to say. So very similar to the letters, these are just gonna give you significant dates, and you can even look into the colors as well. They might give you an emotional charge to them or kind of tell you like maybe red means not so great, maybe orange means very excited, who knows, but we're gonna see what those are, any repeating numbers, angel numbers, all that kind of stuff. So let's look group 2 the next 2 weeks. Okay, so we have 3 numbers. Let's reveal them. So we have a 10 in orange, a 4 in orange, and a 6 in orange. All very exciting, encouraging numbers. Very exciting. So we have the 10th, the 6th, and the 4th. You can also see this as the 14th and the 16th. They're all even numbers as well. So depending on if you typically bet on even or odd numbers, maybe that can give you a bit of a hint how you're feeling about these. But those are the significant numbers that you have coming in. Nothing repeating outside of the orange color, so there could be a very fiery kind of week coming in here, a lot of fire energy. So we're gonna see what's firing you up, what's getting you brave, what's getting you out of your box here, and also sort of encouraging you to move forward in some way. So we're gonna see what that is, looking into a main energy card. So this is gonna be the overarching main theme over the next 2 weeks. So definitely, if anywhere in this reading, this is the time to really send your energy in, because this is really going to show us that overarching theme. So let's see, group 2 here, the next 2 weeks. Ooh, the 4 of Swords. Definitely not the energy I was expecting, but find it really interesting because you have all this encouraging energy, all of this run, go, get moving, change things up, or, you got this, or just being very like supportive and kind, even if you're not doing anything, right? So I think it's interesting that you got the 4 of Swords, because the 4 of Swords is usually about taking, these swords being your thoughts, putting them up on the wall, letting them sit for a while, letting them marinate, right? So if you have an idea that you're trying to like figure out, if you're trying to ask questions and get them answered, if you're trying to get this thing done, if you have all these different tasks running in your mind, right? This is being able to just put them aside, put them up on the wall, right? Let someone else carry them for a while and get a little bit of rest. So if, you're feeling overwhelmed by something over these next 2 weeks, whether that's your job, whether that's your family, whether it's commitments, responsibilities, other things that you have the opportunity to ask for a bit of help, ask for a bit of support, or you just need a little bit of that encouragement to get through maybe this particular next 2 weeks, definitely use that to your advantage, because that is coming up here as that overarching main theme of advice, as well as, where the next 2 weeks might go. And this doesn't have to necessarily mean like napping literally, although it can be very literal, like I said with the car. Otherwise, this can mean, with the car, right, getting out of the house, doing something on your own, doing a solo thing, having, or getting out with friends if that's going to be supportive. Whatever is supportive, whatever is useful and encouraging for you right now, that's what you are being encouraged to do. So we're going to see how that translates into your next 2 weeks, looking into more of those bits and bobs here. So if you haven't been to these readings before, this is how we're going to do the 2 weeks on the charm mat here. So here in the center, anything that falls in this little circle here is going to relate back to that main energy. Anything that falls here in this little noodle shape is week 1, and anything that falls here is week 2, splitting them in half. And then anything that falls in the moons we'll talk about individually, but they usually talk about timing. So to start this off, we're going to pull some tarot tiles. Then we'll pull the charms as well to get more of the nuanced messages. So feel free to send your energy into the dark abyss and see what comes back. So group 2 the next 2 weeks. Okay, so currently we have 3 that haven't fully revealed themselves, so we'll reveal them as we go. But you also have the 10 of Pentacles showing up here, as well as a reversed Ace of Pentacles, which I find really interesting, which I'll talk about here as we get more of the nuanced messages. So, and we'll zoom you in as well so you can see it even clearer, or more clearly. So let's go ahead and look into the charms as well and see what they have to say. So next 2 weeks, group 2. Okay, so let's zoom on in and I'll show you the center first. But like I said, we don't actually have any tarot tiles showing up here, so we're still just really looking at that main energy just like before with that 4 of Swords. And what you have showing up here is sort of this one being both the main energy, but happening a lot in the first week. So it's kind of blending between the two. You have the star, and the star can talk about navigation, right? If you literally think of the stars and how we would use them to navigate and figure out where we are in the world and being able to navigate in that way, it feels like the star is reversed, right? So it feels like a little cloudy. Like I said, those tasks lists are kind of getting overwhelming. There's just a bit of that need for support, and I feel like you're definitely reflecting on that this week, or over the next 2 weeks rather, or really reflecting on them, because we do have the mirror, or this is just a time in your life that has been mirrored over and over again, so it's not something that you weren't expecting. On top of that, we also have the number 8, which is funny because group 1 also had a lot of 8 energy. 8 being a number of abundance. It also can talk about cycles, right? Things that we find ourselves back in over and over and over again. So the fact that you're reflecting on a time when things have been a little bit cloudy or overwhelming, I feel like you're probably not surprised by this for the majority of you, that I feel like you're just probably not surprised by this information, because I don't think it's something all that new or all that surprising to you, but still something to, consider moving into your next 2 weeks. That being said, we also have some more charms showing up here in the first week. Don't worry, there's nothing hanging out down here that you can't see. So here we have the 10 of Pentacles, which I think is interesting, because the 2 that you had show up here is the 10 of Pentacles talks about having financial support. It also can talk about, like the idea of it takes a village, right? You need a lot of people, you need a lot of support. And this showed up in group 1 too. So if you're feeling really called to the 8 and in general want to check out another pile, definitely feel free to check out pile number 1 as well, as this also came up. But the 8 of Pentacles has a lot to do with more of the financial support versus the emotional support that we saw in pile 1. So you're finding more financial support over the next two weeks, especially happening in the first week. There's some more abundance showing up here with the I always feel like it's like, you have too many eggs in your basket feeling. So you have an abundance of tasks, an abundance of things, but you also have a key. And the keys in general, when keys show up in a reading, they represent an opportunity to get out of a cage, to get out of a situation, or to give you an opportunity to open something up. They also can be used in the same way to close or lock someone off. So it kind of depends on how you want to use it, but it is currently pointing towards the support. So I feel like if you don't ask for the support, then the support isn't going to just be magically showing up. So it's definitely something you're going to have to ask for, but the support is there. It just is something you have to ask for or utilize the opportunity around you to get the rest that you need, or to help with the overwhelming abundance of tasks or whatever it might be that's kind of clouding your navigation right now. Alongside that, you also have a few that fell on the moon, so I'm going to go ahead and let you see those before we move to week 2 here. But on the moons, you have a very, more of that brave, fiery energy that we were getting before. So if you're waiting for that fiery energy to come in, it might be coming in. You're welcome to Google when exactly these moons are showing up in your life as to when you are watching this. But right before the new moon, you're going to get like this, almost like, it's giving me this feeling of like a small little rebirth, right? Not like something massive or huge, like you're quitting your job and you're moving across the country, kind of like that extreme, but just something small or subtle, but makes a really big impact, something new that you're bringing in, or something that you're changing and shifting around that time. Something, that's once in a blue moon. I find this one interesting because as I was moving through the charms, this one kept getting stuck on my finger. I don't know if you noticed it, but it kept getting stuck, and I was like, okay, I don't know if it's this charm. I don't know if it's this charm. I don't know. Okay, fine. Apparently it is. So I tossed it out. So apparently there's an opportunity, again, an opportunity. They're all like lining up here. An opportunity that comes once in a blue moon. It's not something you get every day. It's not something that you can always maybe rely on, but an opportunity nonetheless, with family or with friends, with a support financially for you, or even just physically, right? It doesn't have to be financially. It could be like if you're having a hard time keeping up with, caring for your kids or something else that might come up, like asking for an aunt to come over or asking for a friend to help look after the kids or something like that, right? It can be something about, more like just physically being there for someone. But this is like they're not always able to do that, but maybe right now they're in town or something like that. So that's what I'm really getting here, is like once in a blue moon, and it's really hard for you to be able to see the opportunity right now because it's clouded, but the charms are showing that it's there. And then lastly over here, before we move to the charms on the second week, you have the new idea charm happening around the full moon. The new idea is showing up, new, like a light bulb above your head, which I found interesting when it kind of is pointing towards the Ace of Pentacles here, which is all about, and I'll go ahead and zoom you in so you can see that a little bit further, but the Ace of Pentacles is all about having new ideas as well. But it seems like in the second week, you may have finally found a little bit of time, a little bit of comfort, a little bit of energy again to get things going. And you're like, yeah, okay, I'm going to do this new thing. I'm going to go try this new thing. I want to start this. And it seems like you're being shown to like maybe hold back, maybe, give yourself time to catch up versus starting something new in the second week. That being said, we also have some energy that we haven't revealed here for the second week, which I find interesting that you got the moon, which is all about illusions. We also have the Emperor card, as well as the Page of Wands. So again, I'm really getting this energy it's hammering home. For the second week, you're going to be feeling like, ooh, I got some new time on my hands. The world is my oyster. I'm like, I have all of this time now, and you're like raring to go. But it seems like the Emperor is being like, hey, let's hold back, rein it in a little bit, because there's still some other things that you need to tie up some loose ends or to, attend to first. So those are all of the charms and cards for you all over the next 2 weeks. I do hope that you enjoyed this reading. Oh, by the way, you have a spring that flew all the way over here as well. The spring meaning springing forward or on something, or, having a spring to your step, or just like this feeling of being like having momentum. So interesting that showed up. Just thought I would, put that out there. But also, like I said, if you did enjoy this reading though, definitely be sure to give this video a like and let me know in the comments down below what resonated with you, what charms really spoke to you. I'm always curious to hear your thoughts. And if you haven't already and you like pick a card readings, you want to learn more about charms or art magic, definitely feel free to subscribe, as I put out new videos every single Monday. And I'm very excited to have a little bit more time on my hands, hopefully in the new year, to bring out some new content. So if you're interested in that, definitely subscribe. And if you're interested in, your own private snail mail reading or other ways to support yourself through your magic, such as the Yule spell and ritual papers, definitely feel free to check out those offerings down below to support not only yourself, but also this channel. So thank you so much for being here with me, and I'm wishing the best for your next 2 weeks. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Hello group 3, if you decide to choose this piece of yellow Aventurine, then this is the pile for you over the next 2 weeks. So we are going to be looking into, like I said, the main energies for the next 2 weeks, but also we're going to be doing a week by week forecast with the charms. So we're going to be doing that with the charm mat towards the end. We're going to be using the charms, the numbers, the letter tiles, the tarot tiles, as well as the tarot deck of choice being the Everyday Tarot, which I'll have this all listed down below in the description in case you're curious to see what we use here today as we work together to build this reading, you and me working with our intuition together. I always like to encourage you all to use your own intuition, see what comes through for you, see how the charms connect, and really form a clearer picture for you for the next 2 weeks, because I think with these being a collective reading, I think it's always important to bring yourself to the table here and see what comes through. But we are going to first start off with your letter tiles and numbers. So for this, we're going to be pulling some letter tiles, and feel free to get yourself cozy and settled, but we're going to be pulling some letter tiles. These might be initials, you could maybe even spell full names, you can see it as oracle messages and others. So we're going to be playing around with these, and you're welcome to read them as I look at them as well. So do feel free to send your energy in through time and space, and let's mix these up, group 3. Okay, so immediately when I threw this out, I got both the words swerve and serve showing up here, which are very two different things, right? Serve can be more of like literally serving dishes, serving food, or something like that, or like serving like your best look or something, if you look at more culturally. But I also got swerve, like you're swerving around something, or swerving around something that maybe you should be cautious of, or something that, it's an opportunity that maybe you want to be dodging or working around these next 2 weeks. So we have that showing up here. We also have SVERE as well as E. So we have a lot of swerve serve energy, of course. Something that you're going to be revealing or, seeing over the next 2 weeks that is going to be really important. Using your sight in terms of your intuition, that could be really important over the next 2 weeks. And then it doesn't fully write it, reverse. Right, you can't fully write reverse here, but it's giving me this feeling too of like looking to the past or looking back on something, which maybe is what you're swerving around, something that comes up around this time of year or always happens, or something that just is in a cycle or in a loop around this time of year, or in these next 2 weeks that you're kind of expecting to happen, something that you're dodging or swerving around, you're, reversing, moving back. So something you might even be bringing down the climax of the situation, like making sure that something doesn't sort of blow up in your face or something like that. So those are the things that I'm really getting here. I'm honestly not getting much more, right? We've got Rev, C. I'm not really getting a ton here with the amount of letters that we got, but I don't feel like we need to pull any more. So it's just straight to the point. So let's go ahead and pull some numbers and see if we get any more nuance here. So the numbers are going to give you both a number and a color. The color might respond more to, or might associate more to your emotions, right? So blue being a certain thing for you, maybe red means something to you. But we also are going to see if there's any significant dates you should be looking at, or angel numbers, repeating numbers, things like that. So let's go ahead and pull these for you, group 3. Lots of numbers here today. One that actually fell on the letters, so we're going to look at that one first. We have the number 13 showing up here. Oh my gosh, it doesn't want to stick. 13, the number is in the color blue, which can sometimes mean like calm. It can also be, since 13 is a number of, and relating to the number or the death card in tarot, this can also mean that you're just like, again, maybe something is coming up around this time of year that makes you feel a bit of grief, a little bit of sadness. Something, could just be that there's less sun outside, could be something much grander or bigger, just depending on the context of your life. But we have that showing up here. We also have the number 6 in orange, the number 3 in blue, the number 11 in red, the number 5 in blue, and the number 3 again in orange. So we have 3, 3, 3. We have a lot of threes, and you also chose the number 3, 3 being a number of sort of community, working together. It's a friendship number. It's a number of connections, right? And sort of networking and working together with people. So we have that showing up here a lot for you. We have a lot of, because we have the 11, so making me think like the 14th, the 16th, the 17th, the 14th again, if you add them up. And depending on when you're watching this, usually the single digits when I post this are kind of already past. So these can also be, since you're looking back to the past with that reverse energy, there might be something that happened that was very significant, something to look back on, last week or the week before, that is really making an impact or a ripple effect towards this week. So those are your numbers, but of course we're going to keep looking further. We're going to dive even deeper. So let's pull you your main energy card. So I like to use one card here, and then we'll look even deeper with the charms for the nitty gritty here. But we're going to pull one card to look into that major overarching theme over the next 2 weeks. So if you pour your energy into any of these, shufflings or mixings of the charms, this is the one to do it for sure, because this one's going to be that overarching theme. So let's see, group 3, next 2 weeks, the overarching theme or energy for the next 2 weeks for group 3. So we had that see and looking to the past. There's definitely a bit of a magical energy towards your next 2 weeks, or at least that you are really honing in on your intuition, really working with your intuition, working with your gut, with your instincts over the next 2 weeks to again, like, swerve around this situation or dodge something. Because you have, if I can pick this up, you have the High Priestess here, which is all about taking your time, right? They're scrying into things, they're looking at things, they're being very analytical, they're being very, instinctual about everything, and they're really taking their time to consider, options, and to consider opportunities that come into their path. So this is kind of the energy that you're going to be sort of finding yourself in. So if you guys haven't looked into the pick a card readings that I do for every October on your psychic and magical gifts, then definitely feel free to check that one out if you want to see where your intuition lies here. But we're going to be looking further than that. So let's go ahead and look into your next 2 weeks even deeper with the charms here. So I'll zoom you out a little bit so we can look So like I said, we're going to be pulling the charms, the tarot tiles here in a moment to look into more of that main energy here. Anything that falls here is on week 1, and anything that falls here in this little noodle shape is on week 2. The moons we'll talk about individually, but they usually represent timing more specifically. So let's go ahead and pull you some tarot tiles. So feel free as always to bring your own personal energy into the mix here. And let's see, group 3. Okay, so we have 5 different ones that showed up here, 2 in the first week, and then 2 sort of here in the second, 2 in the first week, 2 in the second week, and 1 here in the center. The only one that revealed itself, which I find really interesting, is the 7 of Swords, and we'll talk about more of it here when we get the rest of the context with the charms, but I do find it interesting that that's the only one that revealed itself. So let's go ahead and pull your charms, and I'll talk about that one here in a moment. So feel free to send your energy in, and let's mix them up. Group 3. Okay. So a lot of big chunky charms that were showing up here for you. So I'm going to zoom you in so you can really look at everything. Nothing in the moons, so we're not really going to talk about those here today, but what we're going to talk about first is your main energy. So we're going to be looking even deeper into more of that High Priestess energy and anything else that shows up here. So first off, we have like this little coin here that I found a long time ago. It's not actually a coin. It's like a little, I don't know what you actually would call this, but I sort of randomly found it, and it always made me think of, like, you know, when you, if you guys have ever picked up like a stick in the yard and the bark has fallen off of the stick and you can see like these little trails of where bugs have tried to kind of burrow under the surface. That's kind of the feeling that it feels like. It feels like someone trying to get under your skin or trying to, you know, burrow into a place that they don't really deserve to be, or trying to get, you know, like I said, trying to get your goat, trying to get under your skin, trying to egg you on, or trying to, you know, do something like that. That's the feeling that I'm getting here with this charm, which we talked about earlier, right? You swerving or dodging some sort of situation. So there might be something that you just have to be very level-headed about, or, you know, not let them kind of get your goat over the next 2 weeks, because it feels like someone's trying to push you up against a corner. Whenever I get this charm too, it always makes me think of like a little, like, people sort of pushing you into a corner or pushing you into a wall. So again, it feels like there's definitely someone trying to sort of rattle things up or get under your skin. That person might be doing it not to just like annoy you in like a sibling way or trying to just like be pestering in some way, but because we have the judgment card, the judgment card usually represents the energy of trying to level up or help someone evolve or help someone grow. So maybe it feels like someone's trying to help you grow or trying to be supportive in their own way, but it's just really not, it's not really hitting. And I feel like it's one of those situations where, you know, someone's trying to push their own agenda, their own idea of how you should evolve or how you should grow or how you should, you know, do whatever XYZ, and trying to kind of, you know, get under your skin. So just being aware of that, being, you know, how this person has maybe talked to you in the past, or how this person with that reverse message, right? How someone has, you know, talked to you in the past, or how this person has presented themselves to you in other situations might inform whether it's really worth your time or whether this person is worth your energy to really listen to, or to give them the time of day in general in your life, if it's even worth considering their advice or their, you know, unsolicited knowledge on you. So it's kind of up to you, but it's definitely giving, like, you know, they're just getting under your skin. So just, you know, allow them to sort of, you know, that, what is the message, like water off the back of a duck. I totally messed that up, but I'll write it on the screen. But over here in week 1, what I found interesting, we had that 7 of wands, and the 7 of wands is a lot about like sticking up for yourself, and it also is giving me that feeling of swerving, moving and dodging something, right? You can see them really dodging, them blocking, and it feels like you are kind of, because it's upside down, is making me feel like this huge relief, this release of energy, almost like you're going to either stick up for yourself, or like I said, you're going to, just look the other way and not, allow it to get to you, or just, not even let it even be a part of your sort of headspace at the end of the day, because they've parroted this to you before. This isn't new knowledge, and it's not something you necessarily need to hear or put a lot of thought or care into. So it really feels like you're sticking up for yourself, whether that's passively and defensively, or whether that's really, actively telling them off or putting your 2 cents into the situation. But regardless, there's this feeling of like really standing up for yourself over the next 2 weeks. And then what's interesting is whatever they're telling you or talking to you about is definitely more financially based, or something about even, because this represents the earthly things, right? So something that you're either, whether it's because you're sick right now, whether it's a chronic illness, whether it's something to do with your body image, if it's also maybe, again, related to career, the earthly pursuits, that's the things that they're commenting on. Those are the things that they feel like you have a once in a lifetime opportunity. This is the time to do this thing, because you have the blue moon here. And it really just feels like they're talking in circles about something or advice that you didn't really want or need. So definitely, just let the water run off the duck's back. I'm definitely saying that one wrong, but you know what I mean. Like, just let it go or confront them. So that's what's happening in the first week. As for the second week, what I found interesting is you have the sewing machine, and the sewing machine represents literally when you're sewing something, right? You're sewing two, planes together, two paths together. You're sewing something together. You're stitching it. And so you have this actually fall on this embroidered stitch that I made for this, between week 1 and week 2. So whatever happens in week 1 really is going to impact week 2 quite a lot. So the things you have in week 2, we have the fall in love charm. This can also represent timing. So literally the fall or autumn. So whatever this is relating to might relate to something that happened back in the fall, even maybe early fall, late summer. Then we also have the star charm, as well as the 6 of wands. And so 6 of wands falling next to 7 of wands is telling me that you're going to be quite successful in the second week, especially if you really listen to yourself, for sure, in terms of how you want to go about the situation of them getting under your skin. But you also have the star showing up here, which represents feeling sort of rejuvenated freshness that's coming back into the second week. So maybe that's because this person isn't around in the second week, or in the second week you're just, because you said what you said or you did what you did, you've reset the situation, you've kind of put a blank slate back out there, and that seems to be quite successful for you. And then you also have this cat bat that's showing up here. Whenever I see the cat bat, and it's been showing up a lot lately, it always has a very interesting message. It either represents, again, a mixing of 2 things, which we've already had show up here, but also it keeps giving me this feeling to tell you that there's a surprise that's going to show up, something surprising, something that's going to kind of catch you again off guard in the second week. So even though things are feeling kind of nice, even though it feels kind of successful, there could be something that sort of sneaks back in the second week, or something that sort of surprises you in the second week. So that's just something to keep in mind. So overall, those are all the charms and cards that you have here. If it's not a person, then it's a situation, it's a boss, or whatever it is that's getting under your skin. These are the ways that it's sort of manifesting over your next 2 weeks in your life. So do feel free to like this video if you found it useful. It definitely helps the channel, so thank you. And let me know in the comments down below who the heck this person is if you feel open to it, or how the charm's really related to you or connected with you. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you haven't already and you like pick a card readings like this one or pick a charm, if you're interested in looking deeper into charm casting or into art magic, then do feel free to subscribe, as I put out new videos every single Monday. And if you'd like to support yourself even further as well as support the channel, I have snail mail readings that I send a letter to you in the mail on any question or query on your mind for a tarot reading. And I also do create handmade spell and ritual papers that you can toss into the wind, that you can submerge in water, you can use under flame, and you can also bury in the earth, as it's very eco-friendly. So if you're interested in looking into those to sort of uplift your Yule season, do feel free to check those out to sort of enhance your magic this season. So with that all said, thank you so much for being here. I'm wishing you the best for your next 2 weeks, and to tell off this person or whatever this energy is. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.